Time for Emotional Freedom Technique Seminar, or EFT as we call it. Come on up, Adrian, would you? This is Adrian Fowley. About 2 or 2.5 weeks ago, about 2 or 2.5 weeks ago, Adrian had a surprise birthday party, which I attended, and it was all very well staged. She didn't know what was going to happen, etc. And she showed up with her boyfriend. Everybody was there. Surprise, 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 surprise. And as she was opening her presents, somebody used a word that I have been looking for 4 or 5 years to describe Adrian and what she means to people. And she says, "You're the sunshine in our lives."
No,
you know.
thank you.
And the sunshine is a beautiful term for her. And you will notice, while I happen to be the guy who's up there most of the time, you know, carrying on all of this, and some people tend to think that because I'm on stage most of the time, it's only because I'm a bigger ham, okay?
That's true, too.
That does not mean I'm better at these techniques or anything like that. Adrian has helped hundreds of people, including many in this room, with these techniques. So, what I'd like to have you do is just give us your name, if you would, and anything. There's no rules about this, but you give us your name, and if you want to tell us why you're here, where you live, or anything else, or, you know, please do so. But you have 10 seconds.
But we don't want to put any pressure on you.
I'm a CPA in Point Arena. Gary's accountant. And
Gary's accountant. This is a commercial, folks.
And Gary's been working with me on public speaking, and we have more work to do because my heart is pounding.
Oh, it is right now. Yeah. By the way, while your heart's pounding, and I'm sorry, okay, I want to make a point if we can. Not everything we do with everybody goes away bingo like that. You will see that, by the way. But you have had substantial improvements in a variety of areas, have you not?
Yes.
But then it keeps coming back somehow in little other pieces. We call those aspects. And I only point that out to you because you're going to hear the term aspects over and over and over again here. There's different pieces to problems as they go on, okay? So the fact that we're not totally through it is something we can learn from, okay? Go ahead.
My name is Kathy York, and I'm a jazz singer and a textile artist, and I live in Point Arena with Patty, and she knew I had to come here, so she got me here.
Can we discuss how difficult it used to be for you to get here?
Oh, yeah. Last time I came here, I threw up 7 times on the
That's because you have something called agoraphobia.
I have agoraphobia, and it's not good for a jazz singer because you've got to get out.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to get out.
Yeah.
But this time you came down and you were doing some tapping along the way.
Tapping along the way, but we forgot about the gamut point, so it wasn't a true test, but I only threw up once and I made it here.
Yeah, good. All right.
Good. Thank you.
My name is Lynn Lannon. I live in San Francisco as well, and I'm an organization development consultant.
Here,
and
good.
an incipient golfer.
An incipient golfer.
And a golfer. And by the way, you came by the way, among the goals for the two of you is to improve your golf score. It would seem interesting that the same technique that helps agoraphobia and crashing into trees would help a golf score, you know, but it does, and you'll see how that works out as we unfold.
And my cramps are just about gone.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, why don't you describe that?
Yeah, when we started, when Lynn first got here, she wasn't feeling very well and she was having some cramping, and Jerry was going to run to the store to get something for it, and I said, wait a minute, let's just try this, and I just did it for a matter of seconds, and now she's saying that she's feeling good.
Can you give me some estimate, like on a scale of 0 to 10, if they were like a 6, what were they to begin with on a scale of 0 to 10, intensity and pain-wise?
When Adrian asked me the question, they were about a 6.
And what is it now, would you say?
Probably a 1.
A 1, okay, good. That's somewhat typical.
I am Connie Martin, and I'm also a licensed acupuncturist, and I also work with colored light therapy, and I was told about the seminar from my friend Marilyn Whitbeck. And I know a little bit about it from our discussion on the phone the other day.
Yeah.
And I have had problems with my back for about 12 years, and it's just a nagging, constant on and off pain. And I've done a lot of work with it, acupuncture, chiropractic, all kinds of things, and it still seems to be there a little bit. And I actually had some neck problems when we talked on the phone, and I wanted to tell you that after we did the tapping technique, that it was gone for the rest of that day and evening, but it did come back the next day.
Okay.
So
how is your back right now?
Right now, my neck feels pretty good. My middle back there's a little bit of tension and some stress and pain there, and I think it's because of driving, because I came from San Carlos and I got real stressed out getting here.
Is there discomfort any place else in your body right now, Connie?
I feel a little bit of I think it's just from stress, tension in my head. I don't know how to explain it because it feels like it's just real deep inside my head.
Okay. Would you mind coming up? And we'll take care of it right now.
Okay.
All right, come on up.
We want to give Dan the mic.
Yeah,
Dan will take it.
give Dan the mic. And what you might do is just give her yours, if you would.
Yes.
Give her your mic. Come on up. You didn't expect this, did you? But see, we talked on the phone, and I thought, we might as well start with, if somebody has some physical discomfort, it's going to be that much more difficult, to attend and get the most out of this workshop. So if we can reduce any of that, well, let's do that. Good.
What are you going to do? I'm just going to clip it right here.
So you and I have never met before, and here we are trying to address your physical pain, right? Come, sit down. Sit down.
Sit down. Didn't know it was going to be up here.
I know, and you don't have the slightest idea what's going to happen, do you?
No.
Other than we talked on the phone the other day, and I had you tap and everything.
That's right.
But you told me you were open and everything, so
right.
that's why I thought to myself, if she's got pain, we ought to probably do that. Now, I want you to be specific for me for a second.
Okay.
In the back.
In the back.
It was a thoracic area, wasn't it?
It's in the thoracic area.
Middle of
it's
the back.
around T7, T8 area on the left-hand side mainly.
Okay.
And it's ribs more than it is, right in there. I know from the work I've been doing that it's ribs.
Okay, now here's one thing you're going to hear me say a lot here. I want you right now, if you would, to take complete responsibility for your physical well-being. If I ask you to move in a certain direction to see how painful that is, you know whether you're damaging yourself or not. I don't, because I don't have your pain.
Okay.
But what I'd like to do, we need to kind of like a little benchmark first. And by the way, I'm not really teaching EFT right now. I'm going to demonstrate it to you. If you want to take notes, go ahead, but you're going to see this procedure done over and over and over again, and I'm doing it right now just to give you an idea of what it looks like, okay? All right.
I do want to add, too, don't tap. Don't do any of it on yourself until we work with you so that we can indeed be able to measure exactly what's happening with you.
I'll tell you what happened. The reason she said that it's a temptation for you as you see us do this to start tapping yourself. What happens is people will do that, and let's say they have an emotional intensity, let's say they have a fear of heights, and they think about it and it gets to an 8 on a 10-point scale. Well, they start tapping, and by the time they get up here, it's a 3. And we get it to a 0, and they say, well, that wasn't much. Okay? And that's why we asked you not to tap, so you can have the experience of coming, comparatively speaking, from the higher level to the lower level, so you get a big contrast involved. Now, what we need to do now, as far as, is the back the main physical thing you have going for you right now?
Well, the other thing is I'm feeling real kind of anxious.
Oh, anxious. On a scale of 0 to 10, how anxious do you feel?
About an 8.
About an 8. Well, just look at me a second, would you? Okay. And I want you to say this. I want you to say this whether you believe it or not, okay? Say, even though I feel anxious,
even though I feel anxious,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and
even
completely
though I feel
accept
anxious,
myself. Even though I feel
I
anxious,
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
even though
myself.
I feel anxious,
even though I feel
I
anxious,
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
I want you to tap
myself.
right here and say this anxiety.
This anxiety.
Over here, say this anxiety.
This side? Or
right there. This thing. Here, I'll do it for you, Friday. Okay. Say this anxiety.
This anxiety.
Okay. I get real anxious, right? This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
Okay. Raise your arm for me. Sing. This anxiety.
This anxiety.
Okay. This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
One more time.
This anxiety.
Okay. I'm just going to stop there for a second. I know we've been joking around here a little bit, but I want you to tune in to your anxiety for the moment. And if it was, what was it, a 7?
Yes.
Would you
no, I said an 8.
An 8, I'm sorry. If it was an 8, is it still an 8?
No, I would say it's gone down a little bit.
Estimate a number.
6.
6. Okay, look at me. Okay, I'm going to tap a little place here. I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now open your eyes. Leave your head steady, but look hard down right like that. Hard down left as I remind you of your anxiety. Now, what I want you to do, Connie, if you will, while I tap here, is to roll your eyes in a circle. Just follow my finger, if you would, as I remind you of the anxiety. Okay, now I want you to hum. This is to get your right brain involved, by the way. Happy birthday. I told you it's dumb, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Now hum again. Okay. Now tap here. Okay, say this anxiety.
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 And this anxiety. This spot is right in the middle of the bra strap, by the way, for the ladies.
This anxiety.
Okay, stop right there. Okay, I want you to tune in to your anxiety. And if it was a 6, is it still a 6? Does it go up, down?
No, I would say it's gone down to about a 4.
To about a 4. Okay, all right,
better.
take a look at me. By the way, I hope you noticed something, and I'll be pointing things out. She just did it right now. What did she do? Sighed. This is a sign of emotional relaxation going on. We're taking whatever was causing the anxiety. We are straightening out her energy system. All the anxiety she has, you'll hear me say this over and over and over again, is because her energy system is disrupted. That's what's causing it. You will give all kinds of other reasons for it, like you're up here, you're not used to these people, and blah, 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 blah. But what's really going on is as you're up here doing that, the circumstances is causing the electrical system in your body to not flow easily anymore. We're tapping on the endpoints of it, just like that lady Mary with the water phobia that Dr. Callahan dealt with. We're straightening it out. You're getting very relaxed about it. The anxiety is disappearing. But we're not done. Okay? So take a look at me and listen to these words carefully, okay? Say, even though I still have some of this anxiety left,
Even though I still have some of this anxiety left,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Again, even though I still have some of this,
Even though I still have some of this anxiety left, I deeply and completely accept
and
myself.
one more time.
Even though I still have some of this anxiety left, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay, good. Now, right here, say this remaining anxiety. Just say remaining
This
anxiety.
remaining 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 anxiety.
Again.
Remaining anxiety.
Again.
Remaining
It's
anxiety.
right here.
Remaining anxiety.
Okay, then over here.
Remaining
Okay.
anxiety.
Now close your eyes a second. Okay. Okay. And I want you to imagine all the people out there, all the anxiety you had, and the 4 that you had, and tell me if you're still a 4.
No.
What number would you give it?
I would say maybe a 2.
Maybe a 2. Now we can go another round and get it to 0, but is it livable for the
It's
moment?
livable.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. It wasn't a few minutes ago.
No.
Okay, good. Now, what I'd like to have you do, first of all, check out your back for me and tell me if the pain is still the same as it was when we started.
I don't feel it quite like it was.
Okay. Okay, I want you to do this for me, just for benchmark purposes.
Yes.
I know the pain probably wasn't a full 10.
No.
But if it, for comparison purposes, if when you came up here, if the pain, or when you were sitting back there talking to me, if the pain then was a 10, if we just give that a level, is the pain now a 5? Is it an 8? Is it a 2? What would it be comparison to it?
Okay, it's about a 4.
Well, it's about a 4, so it's a little less than half of what it was to start with. And what I'd like to suggest here that's going on, look how she's sitting. Is this an anxious person?
I don't know if we're going to get her off the stage.
Quite often, physical pain is contributed to both by things which are mechanical, some mechanical things that go on in the body, but also by the fact that we have anxiety and tension, and this tends to push and pull in the various muscles with, attached to the joints, etc. We've relaxed some of that, and so we've relieved the pain some. But what I'd like to have you do right now, and let's get rid of this 10 and 4 thing we had a minute ago, because I want to start over. What I'd like to have you do, taking complete responsibility for your own physical well-being, I'd like to have you move and bend till you find a place which doesn't damage you, but you can say, oh, yeah, that's a 5, and you can repeat that after we do some more tapping to see if it's still there, okay? So why don't you move around to whatever extent you can and say, oh, that's a whatever it is.
Well, I can't really feel it very much. Maybe I feel it just a little bit like that. I go like
Now,
that.
you put down on your wish list that you've had chronic back pain for 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can't seem to find it very much.
All right, is it a 0 right now?
Pretty much so. I'm feeling a little bit in the rib right here in this front area.
Okay, on a scale
here,
of
but
0 to
not
10, give me whatever number that is.
About a 3.
Okay, well, it's a little one, but let's just give it a shot. I have no idea if we're going to help it or not.
Okay.
But one of the things you'll find is we try this on everything. I don't care what, we tried it on dyslexia and it's worked. Okay? So we're going to try it on, what are we going to call that?
It's a rib.
Rib pain.
Yeah.
We'll just call that rib pain. So even though I have this rib pain,
Even though I have this rib pain.
even though I still have, so even though I have rib, go ahead. Even though I have this rib pain,
Even though I have this rib
I
pain.
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept.
Even though I have this rib pain,
Even though I have this rib
I deeply and
pain.
completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept.
Even though I have this
myself.
rib pain,
Even though I have this
I
rib pain.
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay? I want you to say this rib pain,
This rib pain.
this rib pain,
This rib pain.
rib pain,
Rib pain.
again,
Rib pain.
again,
Rib pain.
here.
Rib pain.
It's going to be right about there. Yeah, we will show everybody where
Right
these
there.
things are as
Okay,
time
I
goes
just
on.
saw
Okay,
it.
we're just demonstrating for the moment.
Rib pain.
Okay, and then under your arm.
Rib pain.
Okay, now, we're not done with this, but I just want to take a reading for the minute. Check that out. Is it still a 3?
No.
No. Did it go up?
Down.
Down, okay. I guessed that.
Yeah, I'd say it's maybe about a 1. It's just there.
It's about a 1. All right, now let me ask you this. And again, you're taking responsibility for your physical well-being, okay?
okay.
Have you ever been able to do this in the last 12 years?
Only recently because I'm working out and stretching. Only in the past month or two.
Okay.
But before that, no.
Is there something, some movement that you have never been able to do for the last 12 years? And I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's the going over, well, I don't want to do that though, sideways.
You don't want to do that because you're unsure of it, or because you have pain you think you'll have, or what?
Right. If I go, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's the correct way to even move your body over to the side like
okay. So, wait a minute. If you were, I'm not going to ask you to do it. I want you to take responsibility for your own physical well-being, but I want to understand it, okay?
Yeah,
You're
okay.
saying if you move like this,
Yeah.
that's something you couldn't do before?
No, it's not bending your legs. You're bending your knees.
Oh,
I can do that.
Oh, okay, so if you do this
Right.
and not bend your legs,
Right.
then you're
Yeah,
afraid,
that,
okay.
That's hard to do.
Well, well, stand up for me for a second. And again, you take responsibility and you tell me no anytime, but why don't you just do it just, like a 1 degree or something.
Well, I can go over a little bit, but I can't go down.
Okay, now when you get there, are you getting pain?
I'm not getting pain, but I start feeling tightness.
You start feeling a tightness, okay.
in that
I want to
area.
go one more round with you on it. Just on that.
Okay.
Just so we can demonstrate, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to call that, on a scale of 0 to 10, how tight was that?
About an 8.
Oh, just then?
Yeah.
Oh, so when you got there, you got an 8 tightness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All
like
right.
it starts the whole, that pain happening.
Again, I never know what success we're going to have, but so far we've gotten some success, have we not?
Right.
Okay. No pills?
No.
Nothing like that?
No.
Okay. All right. What do we call that? What was that called? Well, we call it something else. The tightness. Okay. Even though I have this tightness,
Even though I have this tightness.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Even though I have this tightness,
Even though I have this
I
tightness.
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely
Even though I have this
accept
tightness,
myself. Even though I have this
I
tightness.
deeply and completely accept
I
myself.
deeply and completely accept
Okay,
myself.
this tightness,
This tightness.
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 this tightness.
This tightness.
Good. Under your arm.
This tightness.
Okay. Stand up for me a second. We got more to do, but I want you to go where you were. Tell me if it's still an 8, but don't hurt yourself.
Okay. Doesn't feel tight.
Doesn't feel tight at all?
No, I think I'm over further, but I don't know.
Is he over further? I can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you a 0 there?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want you to do any more. We're just here to demonstrate, okay?
Yeah. I
Um,
feel a little bit on this side.
you feel a little bit on that side. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what's interesting here is what's happening here is the various things in her body are starting to shift from place to place. That happens, and you will find with great frequency with these techniques for emotional freedom, because as we start to take care of one issue, something else starts to pop up. There's a lot of aspects to things. That happens sometimes. Sometimes we'll do it, and a lifetime of stuff it's just gone like that. And everything goes with it. Sometimes we've got to keep chipping away at it. So for you, for the physical part, we have to chip away at this, that, and the other thing. But chances are, if you kept doing that, you're going to start relaxing yourself, and all the contributions to her physical difficulty that is contributed to by tense muscles is going to go away. The other thing that is happening here, and this has been my experience over the years, is quite often, in fact, I think you and I talked about this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I asked you if you thought maybe some emotional tendencies might be at the centerpiece or driving force behind some of the physical pain. I think you said yes.
Yes.
Okay. Quite often we will find that when we deal with somebody's emotional issues directly, we deal directly with pain but not with emotional issues. You deal with emotional issues directly and pain starts subsiding. I don't know how to prove this or disprove this, but I have so much experience at it that quite often when we deal with the physical pain, it has a way of sort of addressing the emotional issues behind it without you even knowing what they are. Now, that's a guess on my part, but I only plant that seed because if it seems to make more sense as time progresses, great. On a scale of 0 to 10, how anxious are you?
Maybe a 1, if that.
Maybe a 1, if that. Could we give Connie a hand? Wasn't she brave? Thank you.
My name is Sherry Curtis, and I'm an occupational therapist and work primarily in pediatrics. And I want to say that for a variety of business reasons. I've been on an emotional roller coaster for the last 4 months, and initially I was suffering from migraines, but the last dip, Adrian worked with me, and I got through it without getting even a minor headache. So I'm here to learn more.
I'm glad I'm not aware of that.
Well, Sherry and I had worked a little bit. She has had some things going on within the business, and actually it was just one call, I believe, that we worked with. 2? Okay, with her and her anxiety, and she got through, got rid of
As
the
a
headache.
parallel to that, by the way, it doesn't seem to make any difference, at least in our experience, whether the headache is a, quote, migraine or not. We've had people that migraines go away as fast as a, quote, regular headache. If we find that fascinating, but we've had a lot of people that do it tapping one or two times for migraines, and the migraines either don't come back, or when they do, they're very minor. Not everybody, but I would say most of them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here, thanks to Dr. Chin, and I brought my knee.
And you brought your
I brought my knee, and that's about it. That's why I'm here. And I've worked with Adrian a couple of times and thought it was pretty great.
You and I had a telephone conversation
We did.
2 or 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay with you if I mention a thing or two about that conversation?
Oh, sure.
Okay, good. Because I remember, you dealt with Adrian, and I had never met you before, but I heard the recorded session that you had, because she recorded with your permission. Okay. And one of the issues involved was something that you called a global planetary fear. Do you recall that? And you and I talked about it. And when I asked you about it, that was back in January when you dealt with her, as I recall, because you looked at your notes. And here we are 2 or 3 days, this is now July, and I asked you about that. Do you remember your response?
After you
After
you reminded me, I did.
Yes, but you had forgotten about
I
it.
had forgotten it, and
Yeah.
and that feeling had left me.
The feeling had left you.
The
and-
fear.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, as I talked to you, I said, as I remember it, Mary, you were in tears just thinking about it. And I said, in fact, I quoted to you, I said, you said, oh, my dear, it's a 10, and you started crying. Remember that?
Yes.
I went and found the recording. Could I play it just by contrast?
Oh, okay, sure.
Is it all right?
Sure.
Okay. This is Adrian speaking with Mary on the phone about this one little issue. And what I'd like to have you notice here,
He does things like this. I never know what he's going to come up with.
if you're uncomfortable, tell me. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
What I want you to notice is to listen to the original intensity that she has about it. And then Adrian is going to go through some of the tapping, but we edited some of this down so you don't hear all of this tapping going on and on and on and on. But then I want you to notice something that Mary does, and you'll notice it yourself. She goes, the sigh, and then it came right down to a 2 and a 0. And that was months ago, and today it doesn't bother you. So let me see if I can play this. Where's the volume on it? Just a second. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's going to come over the house speaker well, is it, John? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me see. Well, let me just put it right. Okay, let's do it this way. Where's the speaker? Oh, here we go. Okay.
And hope that, collectively we will be able to somehow, because amazing things are happening, but there's also this, times of just being really engulfed in despair, dread.
Yes.
Heartache.
Yes. When you think about that, the planetary global fear, give me a number.
Oh, my dear, it's 10.
Okay, say I want to get over this fear.
I want to get over this fear.
Rub your sore eye and under your arm. All right, think about that planetary global fear and give me a number.
Well, 2 comes up.
2?
Yeah.
Okay, say I want to get completely over this fear.
I want to get completely over this fear.
Good, you're doing just fabulous. Under your eye, tune into that fear again and give me a number.
I think it's 0.
That is typical, by the way. The reason I did that, and thank you for allowing that, Mary, is because one of the common questions we get, and we get it all the time, is, okay, Gary, I see that it happened, and it happened very quickly, but, can you almost hear the next question? What is it? Will it come back? Does it last? Is another way to say it. Okay? And typically, yes, it lasts and lasts and lasts. And I wanted to show you that because here we had an emotionally important issue to you at the time. That's not to say you don't have any concern about what's happening with the globe and the planet, etc. There's a lot of reason for concern, but that's different than having the emotional reaction you had at that time. Okay? So here we are months later, and you hadn't even thought about it, right? Okay. There's another issue here, which I think is very important, and that is that quite often what we will do is we will get some relief on this, and it happens very subtly. In that it happens so powerfully, we don't even realize there's much of a change. We just start going about our lives differently than we used to. It just doesn't. The baggage isn't there on that issue anymore, and so you have, if you will excuse the expression, emotional freedom, which is what this workshop is all about. So you indeed, on that issue, have emotional freedom, do you not?
That's true.
Yeah, okay.
It changed.
Okay, John?
My name is John. I met Adrian and Gary at 40 Plus, and I was fascinated by the technique. I've always kind of known that negative emotions are very important to all of us, and the fact that he's connected it with actual physical techniques just fascinated me to no end.
Yeah. At that workshop, we dealt with your fear of flying, which improved even with the one trip through.
Peculiar. I don't know what to say.
Could you put a little closer to your mouth?
I was just on a plane for over 20 hours. It never even occurred to me that I was on a plane. And I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, but I want to mention something. Could you put it closer to your mouth?
Sure.
Okay. When we talked at the 40 Plus the meeting. And we did that. The fear of flying was the first thing that came up for you.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And then we did some of that, and we did it only while you were thinking about it. There was no airplane there.
Right.
Okay. Then you just went off and flew, and you didn't even think about it.
No.
Okay. This is really important to understand. There's something we're going to talk about a little bit later on called the apex problem, this kind of thing. But see, he never even thought about it. See, isn't that powerful for somebody to have had an intense fear? We do this kind of thing, and you don't even think about it. That's the ultimate, isn't it? Go ahead.
Yes, my name's Jeannie, and I'm Jan's business partner. I treat eating disorders as well, and I was with Jan when she saw the Callahans. I want to share one of the most interesting things for me is when Gary phoned me to chat with me about what some of my issues might be for this conference. He was asking me, I mentioned something about depression, and I had this, a little bit of dysthymia, just kind of this little low-grade, kind of gray stuff. And he had me tapping on the phone. And I haven't had, my eyes have been like this ever since, it's just, none of that's there anymore.
Remind me, are you using medication?
Yes.
Okay, one thing you need to know is...
I've cut down though.
Okay, you will see somebody's going to come in here tomorrow afternoon, who was here a month ago, who's on Zoloft. And his depression hasn't come back. He's going to tell you some things that you're going to hear something about energy toxins before we're done. That's why I'm bringing him back. But you may be, give her back the microphone, could you, Renee? You may be, I don't know this, but you may be over depression with that little bit that we did. You might be.
Yeah,
okay, now, I'm not telling you ever not to take your medicines. You need to go to your doctor and work with your doctor on that. But it would not surprise me in the least. My guess is there's about a 50-50 chance right now you're over it. And chances are, with a few more tappings, if you're not already over it, you will be soon. Okay?
Great.
That sounds a little strange, doesn't it? It's not supposed to work that way.
Oh boy.
Public speaking is difficult for me. My name is Pam.
That's all you have to say. If you can just pass it on if you want. Great. But later, you may get over that. Okay.
Well, for me, it's been pretty much of a miracle because I was sort of watching how I was feeling as the microphone was getting closer, because typically in the past I would have been really getting uncomfortable way back there, and I was watching it getting closer and closer, and I was going, God, I'm not feeling what I usually feel. Usually it's sort of like my brain almost short circuits, and I forget what I'm going to say, or just total anxiety. So I'm very grateful and hopeful that other issues that are probably a lot more serious that I have some good tools to take with me and work on them.
My name is Keeve. I met Gary and Adrian probably about almost three and a half years ago at a workshop, and I've been fascinated by what Gary and Adrian have done, not only for me but for a lot of my friends by them. And I think you're all open for a real awakening this weekend, and I just encourage you to please keep your mind open.
Yeah, and Keith has no enthusiasm for this whatsoever. Would you just give a brief rundown to how many people you've worked with and what your success ratio has been and stuff like that?
So what we're saying here is that Keeve has really taken what he's learned with the technique and just helped many, many, many people.
Yeah, he just didn't lightly let it go by, you know, and use it for a thing or two. I mean, he took it out big time and started using it, and he's pretty much mastered a lot of it. You know, he's here to learn another level of it.
I've probably worked with close to 150 people on not necessarily spiders, but on public speaking, on height phobias, blood pressure problems.
Fibromyalgia,
I work with a hospital group at the Mills Hospital with 35 people from the fibromyalgia group. And fibromyalgia, for anybody that doesn't know, is a real crippling, not crippling, but very painful disease for mostly women. And of the 35 people that were there, I got a chance to work with probably 20 of them and have had phenomenal results. And there's actually been people calling me at home, and I've been doing follow-ups with them. So I've really taken what Gary and Adrian have said and expanded upon it. I'm just trying to expand my my knowledge to be able to help people.
Your wife has high blood pressure difficulties, and so she works in the doctor's office. She's been taking her blood pressure before tapping, then doing some tapping, and then taking it afterwards. And there's been a reduction in her blood pressure?
Blood pressure, the top number is probably going down about 10 points, and the bottom pressure is probably going down about 5 or 6 points.
Yeah. Chris.
I'm Chris, and I'm here mostly because I wanted to do something nice for myself. And I have lots of little personal problems I'd like to work on, and I work as a therapist, so I'm hoping that I can use some of these techniques.
Are you a therapist in what regard? MFCC or?
I'm a clinical nurse specialist,
and
I work in San Francisco's juvenile detention facility.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We have a huge range of psychosocial, biological difficulties in that spectrum.
Yeah, didn't you work, was it you were working with a headache?
Right, and you...
Well, first of all, excuse me, how often did you have headaches before we did that? And to what intensity?
You know, I never have thought of myself as a headache person, but I have been battling perimenopausal symptoms for, I guess, about 1.5 years now, and it seems like I've been living on ibuprofen, fairly high dosages, for about 1 year. And since you did that technique with me on the phone, I haven't had a headache.
Haven't had one?
At all.
How long ago was that?
Oh, I don't know, a couple of weeks.
Couple weeks ago.
Every now and then I'll feel that kind of aura, and I'll go through the routine that you did with me on the phone, and it's gone.
Yeah, interesting process.
See, the nice thing here is that you're going to leave with a tool that you'll be able to use on yourself. You won't need anyone else. That's really nice.
Will we be able to do something like this over the telephone with somebody if they have a back problem such as this also?
Will you be able to do that? To the extent they know where to tap, et cetera, and you can talk them through
Describe it? Okay.
Yeah. We also, incidentally, often get positive side effects. I have worked with people who wanted to work with the fear of public speaking, and their asthma clears up. Their breathing clears up, and it's a positive side effect. Pam and I were dealing with an issue for her, and we weren't even talking about the fear of flying, weren't we? No. How do you feel now about telling us about what happened flying? You have an intense fear of flying, or did anyway. Put it closer to your...
I feel okay.
Do you? Okay, good. What, tell us about the fear of flying and what happened.
I can't remember exactly when it started, but in the last 10 years it's gotten very hard for me to get on a plane. And if I've gotten on a plane, I usually have to take drugs.
Yeah.
And then I'm just terrified the whole time.
You said recently you actually had a panic attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
that was the last time I was on a plane before last week.
Yeah, you just had an emergency plane trip you had to take.
Right.
And how was the flying? This is after her and I had done some tapping for another issue.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't even, I had tranquilizers, and I realized after I was on the plane that I hadn't taken them. I was sitting in the plane, and I was taking off from the plane, and I'm going, gee, I'm not frightened.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fine the whole time, and I was wondering if what we had done on this other issue could have affected that.
That's a positive side effect. I also want to know on a scale of 0 to 10 right now, how intense are you right now with that microphone in your hand?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm maybe
Estimate
a 4.
Number. Maybe a 4. It was an 8 or 10 before?
Yeah.
Something like that? Okay, progress. Anybody here have a headache? You have a headache? Jim, on a scale of 0 to 10, how intense is the headache right now? It's a 2. It's a mild headache. Okay, you have a headache back here? What number? A 6. Would both of you come on up a second? Yeah, come on, stand right here, Marjorie, would you? Are headaches for you, are they fairly constant?
No.
Okay, just to happen to have one now. Would you stand over here, Jim, could you? Actually, if one of you just hold it, you just use that as a microphone, you know, so, you know. I'm going to use the same process, but we're going to do it on their headache. Now, do I know if I'm going to take care of it or not for sure? No, we're looking for 80%. So far, we've had almost 100%, have we not, for the stuff we dealt with? Have we not? Pretty close? I mean, a noticeable improvement or complete improvement? Okay, but anyway, what I'd like to have you do, we're going to do the same process. You're going to see us over and over and over again. I'm going to tell you why you're doing it in a little bit, but for the moment, what I'd like to have you do, in fact, I'll leave and hold this, if you just tap that karate chop point, like that. So even though I have this headache,
even though I have this headache,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Again.
Even though I have this headache, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Go ahead, one more time.
Even though I have this
That's
headache,
right.
I deeply and completely accept
Okay, do this. Say this headache.
this headache,
Side of your eye, this headache.
this headache,
Under your eye, this headache.
this headache,
Under your nose, this
this
headache.
headache, this headache,
No.
this headache,
Yeah, okay, under your arm.
this headache.
I just want to stop you. I just want to take a check for a second. Are you still a 6?
Yes.
You're still a 6. Okay, we made no movement whatsoever.
No.
Okay, are you still a 2?
No, it flows in and out, and it's out now.
It's out now, but was it there 2 minutes ago?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got you from a 2 to a 0.
Yes.
Okay, good. You can sit down. Can we give Jim a 2 hand? Can we give him a 2? Now, we may or may not be able to help you with your headache.
Right.
But I want to go another step farther in all this, and I'm going to generate what's called the sore spot. So I'm going to poke around up here. I'm going to find a spot that's going to be sore. First of all, is there anything physically wrong with you why I couldn't poke in here that would damage you? Okay. I'm going to poke in here. I'm going to find a spot that's going to be, you know, a little sore. And when I find it, you'll know it, and you let me know.
I'll know it.
Okay. 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 I'm sorry. I found it. Did I not? Okay. It's right there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to rub it. It's going to hurt a little bit. Okay. Does that hurt?
Sensitive.
Sensitive. Okay. So even though I have this headache,
Even though I have
I
this
deeply
headache,
and completely accept
I
myself.
deeply and completely accept myself.
Again, even though I have this
Even though I
headache.
have this headache, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Go ahead.
Even though I have this headache, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay. This headache.
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 Ouch! This headache.
Sorry. This
This
headache.
headache.
This headache.
This headache.
Raise your arm. Sorry. This headache.
This headache.
Are you still a 6?
No.
What is it?
It's not there.
It's gone?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is putting the cart before the horse, but I need to point something out to you. When you learn this basic recipe, and I know you're going to get a running start into this when you learn it. You're going to say, aha, you know how all the pieces fit, because we're showing the pieces, you know, almost out of order here, but it's important. What happened here was something called the setup or psychological reversal. When I first had her do this thing, say, even though I have this headache, I deeply and profoundly accept myself. That is designed, and you'll hear more about it later, to sort of like set up bowling pins, so then when you roll the ball down, you can knock them down. It's kind of like we call it the setup. That didn't work for you the first time.
Right.
That's why, and when that doesn't work, the rest of the tapping is useless. And we went no place with you the first time around, okay? Doing this sore spot thing usually is not necessary for you for whatever the reason. It was the way to do it. It was necessary, so we did that. That got rid of this psychological reversal, this impediment to this process working. And when we did that, then the tapping just Bingo. Is it still gone?
It's gone.
Okay. Could we give her a headache? Or can we give her a headache? Can we give her a hand? Emotional freedom technique entails a 1-minute memorized procedure that can be applied to all emotional and physical problems. You'll notice I've used basically the same procedure for every single thing that we've dealt with here so far, have I not? And so far we have 100% relief, have we not? Have I missed yet? I don't think so. Okay. EFT is very practical in that it allows you to drive down most streets and highways successfully. It's like learning to drive a car without having to learn about all the chemistry and the physics, etc. makes a car work. It's learning how to use the steering wheel and the brake, and the gear shift lever and so on, so you can operate a car, and with that you can drive down most highways, proficiently. If you really knew how to drive the car well, there are a few back roads and some other things you might like to do with the car that you won't be able to do as a result of this course. That being said, I'm going to give you a statement that is already in your manual. It is the centerpiece of what goes on here all weekend. And it is this. It is the discovery statement. It is the one-sentence statement that is behind everything you're going to learn. And that is, the cause of all negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. I need the microphone in a second. I'd like to have anybody here, if you would, could you, and there's no right or wrong answer, there's only what comes up for you. What causes depression? Who could, just anybody that has a response to that, raise your hand, would you? Back over here with Renee. Wait. Go ahead. Loss of control. Loss of what control?
Over your life.
Over your life. Okay, and that's the cause of it? Okay, go ahead. Thank you. And John, you had a response?
Psychological type.
I didn't hear it.
Psychological type.
Psychological type. In other words, there are some people that are more prone to it. Okay. All right. Back to Jan.
Chemical imbalance.
Chemical imbalance. Okay. Up here with Clark.
Fear.
Fear. Like fear of, what might be an example?
Well, it could be any number of things, but I think ultimately it boils down to fear of something. Maybe it's loss of control. Maybe it's fear of some undesired outcome. Whatever, but it boils down to fear of something.
All right, great. One more response. Who else? Why don't you go on back here to Larry?
An implosion of your biological energy.
An implosion of your biological energy. Okay, great. Would you give it back to Trullo? Trello, I'll get it. Okay, thanks. You're all wrong. I just told you what the cause was, didn't I? Didn't I? Remember the apex problem? You see, I just told you what it was. I put it up here, in bold statement. I read it to you. I have things underlined on that, and I asked you what the cause was, and what did you tell me? Everything but that, didn't you? See, you're going to have a hard time digesting this, and I'm going to drum that into you because you're going to see it over and over and over and over again. By the way, the people who had the headaches, the fear of public speaking that had helped, the fear of flying, and all the other things we've dealt with so far, what did we do to help relieve that? We tapped on the energy system, did we not? Did we do anything else? Did we give them any pills? Al had a comment here.
Well, there was also a verbal or statement or singing that went along with the tapping.
Yeah, and that is a way to aid in the balancing of the energy system, and you'll find that out as we unfold this for you. Okay, but that's true. Go ahead, Jan.
Well, what happens when you have somebody with a bipolar disorder who's in a depressive phase and they put them on lithium and it evens them out? So is the idea that the brain chemistry is off because of a disruption in the energy system?
Certain things like bipolar disorders, which is another word for manic depression, schizophrenia, and a few things like that, which are not in our terms technically called negative emotions. They happen to be disorders, and it's a kind of a gray area there. But most things we talk about are negative emotions like grief and anger and fear and guilt and stuff like that. The manic depression with a bipolar, by the way, who has a height phobia, You can deal with their height phobia, which is a negative emotion.
But not with the swing from the mania to the
You may be able to. I don't have the experience with it, but you may be able to. I can't imagine it hurting anything, and we tried on everything, okay? Now, what I want to point out was the cause of all negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. And that's what you're going to learn here. We're not going to do anything other than balance that energy system over and over and over and over again with all the different things that are presented here. That's all we're going to do, and we're going to get 80% or maybe even better results with that. There's going to be no other form of the conventional techniques that you may be used to here, none whatsoever, and we're going to get it. That's because, and that will not work, that will not happen, it cannot happen unless the cause of those negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. Now, look at that sentence again, and notice I have two words underlined. The cause is number one. We just kind of addressed it. I asked you what the cause was, and you gave me other causes, okay? But then it says all negative emotions. We tend to want to say, well, you know, it's all of those other negative emotions, but not this one. We tend to do that in our own minds, okay? It is all negative emotions. For example, let me see where I am here. Well, do this. Name me some negative, anybody, just blurt it, you don't need a microphone, just blurt out a negative emotion for me. I want to get a list of them. Anger is one. That's a negative emotion, is it not? What else? Anxiety is a negative emotion. What else? Fear. Is it, what else? Sadness. Negative emotion, correct? What else? Depression is a lot of negative emotions. Yeah. Yes. What else? Grief is a negative emotion. How about test anxiety, taking a test? Is that a negative emotion? Okay, so it's a very zeroed-in form of it, isn't it? Okay. How about the student, by the way, who does very well in every subject except chemistry? Do they have a negative emotion regarding chemistry? How about the salesperson who has call reluctance? Is that a negative emotion? Okay. We're talking about the cause of all negative emotions. How about feeling embarrassed about something? Is that a negative emotion? Okay. See, it doesn't matter what the negative emotion is. The cause is always that. When we talk about emotional freedom, by the way, I want to define that. Emotional freedom does not mean, well, you feel a little better about something. That is not freedom. That's feeling a little better about something. I'm talking about absolute freedom. When it works and when it's thorough, you literally have freedom totally about that particular issue. You have a number of those yourself, do you not, Patricia? That we've dealt with. Or actually you have too. You have absolute freedom about it. Even emotionally intense things you can talk about like they were a walk around the block. And so when we talk about emotional freedom, we're talking about getting every single trace of it. And we are not totally successful unless we do. So I talk about emotional freedom in a very pure sense. It's usually rapid. It usually happens emotionally as fast as it happened with Connie for your physical things up here. That usually happens. Okay, just as it did with you, Mary, with the things you dealt with. In fact, I've heard other recordings, and all these things, just everything you did happened in moments. Did it not?
That's true.
Yeah, good. Okay, it's usually, by the way, permanent. Most people do not believe that, but it happens over and over and over again. We'll deal with a height phobia, and it just goes away, and it stays away. And the same with almost all of the emotional issues. When they come back, and they do appear to from time to time, there's always reasons for it. And that's part of what we're going to discuss today, is some of the art of this, is some of the details that go on and so forth. So you'll discover why it is, when they come back, why they do. It is also, another thing that you need to expect, it is essentially painless. We do not take you into some emotional avenue and have you relive some things over and over and over again, to have you confront your fear and relive it once upon a time, etc., etc., as many conventional techniques tend to do. As a matter of fact, with this technique, to the extent you have emotional discomfort or emotional pain, we're doing it wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay? So it minimizes emotional pain. Am I violating anybody's beliefs, by the way? Yeah, we got a few smiles. Okay. It deals with a wide variety of issues. You can expect that as well. Anything from the fear of public speaking to rape. From anger to nightmares. From insomnia to depression. And from hiccups to multiple sclerosis. That's just to name a few. We try it on virtually everything. Here's another belief, and something you can expect here. This is what almost everybody's belief. People will say to us, well, Gary, I don't know if this will work, I'll say this to you too. I don't know if it will work because I've had the problem for a very long time.
Yeah, those are the fun ones to really work with. Yeah.
Does it really matter how long they've had in this technique?
Oh, not at all.
It does not matter how long you've had it.
They'll say I've been afraid of snakes all my life, or I've had this fear of heights ever since I don't know when, and it does not matter.
I think we got our microphone upside down.
I have a belief of that. I don't really want this on, I
guess. Also, it doesn't matter how intense it is. People will say, well, Gary, mine is so intense that I don't even want to talk about it, I don't want to deal with it, and it's so intense that nobody can help it. It doesn't, with these techniques, it does not matter how long you've had it, and it does not matter how intense it is. What does matter is how complex it is. That's what may take some time. It has different pieces to it. And by the way, most of you will not know whether or not you have a lot of aspects or pieces to it until you start doing it. The literal cause for self-sabotage. The person, for example, who would love to lose weight, and you talk about it all day long, you say, yes, I want to lose weight. Oh, you betcha, I'd love to lose weight, I just can't do it. They are self-sabotaging themselves, and most of us know that, and anybody who is in that position knows that, because they will find themselves, even though they want to lose weight, they will find themselves doing the things necessary to keep the weight on. You know, eating things they shouldn't be eating, and too much, and so on. Not exercising enough, and all of this. That's a form of self-sabotage. People who self-sabotage their relationships, they are psychologically reversed. Psychological reversal is the literal reversal of the polarity of your body's energy system. It literally changes polarity like this. Here is a handheld recorder which works on batteries. Okay? When you put the batteries in here, you have to put the polarity in properly. The plus and the minus have to go in the right place, right? And if you don't put them in the right place and the batteries are in backwards, what happens to the recorder? Yeah, it doesn't work, right? The same thing happens. That's because you put the minus where the plus should be and the plus where the minus should be. The same thing happens. The exact same thing happens in your body with psychological reversal. Quite often we will have negative thoughts, many of which are subconscious we're not even aware of, and they will cause this. And when psychological reversal is there, and this is the critically important point, I'd make a note of this, when psychological reversal is present, healing of any kind is stopped dead in its tracks. That's healing with EFT, that's healing with any kind of medicines you want to use, any kind of chiropractic effort, any kind of healing technique whatsoever. If psychological reversal is in place, the healing will not work. Yes, sir, Jerry. We need a microphone.
Could you clarify what you mean by psychological reversal?
Yes, I'm about to. I'm giving it a label for the moment. Well, I did describe it. It is the literal reversal of the polarity in your body. Your body has electrical system going on. It has a polarity just like a battery does. It's the literal reversal of that. We're running from plus to minus instead of minus to plus, or vice versa. Okay? I'm going to demonstrate that to you for the moment. Yes, we need a microphone for Jason. Dan, microphone for Jason.
So by healing, does that include physical healing? So like
absolutely.
If you cut yourself, does that mean if the polarity is running the opposite way, it won't heal?
It is the psychological reversal is usually specific. If you are psychologically reversed against that cut healing itself, it won't heal itself. Most people are not psychologically reversed. I'll give you a great example of Dr. Callahan's that he had years ago. He had a lady who had some dental work done, and the dental work, had something to do with the gums. I don't know the exact name, but it would not heal. It was supposed to heal in a week, and here it was 3, 4, 5 weeks later, and the thing just would not heal. She did the psychological reversal, the setup thing, over and over and over and over and over again. That night, as the story goes, the thing abscessed. It got very sore, very painful. That night it drained. The next morning it was all gone. Okay, that happens with great regularity. We see that all the time. I'm going to demonstrate this to you in a moment, but I'd like to have you help me. Could you help me a second, Veronica? And I'm going to have Todd help me a minute. He just left. But if you could come up for a second, I'd appreciate it. Here, if you would, just stand here, okay? Okay. Have you ever done arm testing before? Do you know what it means?
You mean strength-wise?
Yeah, strength-wise, but arm testing as far as, if you don't know what the term means, you haven't done it. Okay, so I want to do that with you. Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this arm and put it out here like that, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to push on this. I'm going to tell you, I'm not an expert on this. I do this once in a while, and there's some art to it, etc. But I think, yeah. Is there any physical reason why I shouldn't push on the arm? I mean, you're healthy as far as the arm is concerned and all that. Okay. We need to be consistent to have this work properly, and which means that whenever I say to you, be strong, you need to resist me with everything that you have. Okay. And I'm going to push with the same pressure each time. Okay. So I'm going to do that now. Let's say, be strong. Okay. Be strong. Okay. Now I want you to take this hand and put it on top of your head. Okay, now the reason I'm having her do that is because the polarity normally of her hand is positive here and negative here. Okay, so now be strong, okay? Let's do that again. Be strong. Okay, turn it over. Be strong. Okay, did you notice the difference? Which one were you stronger?
This way.
Right, okay. See, by doing this, we affected the polarity in her body, positive and negative. Okay, now.
Try the other arm.
Okay. Now, one of the things you'd like to do is quit smoking, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you'd really like to quit smoking?
Yeah.
I mean, really like to quit smoking. Okay. Okay, I want you to be strong here a second, but first of all, I want you to say, I want to quit smoking.
I want to quit smoking.
Okay, be strong. Okay. Say, I want to smoke even more.
Can we try the other arm?
In a minute. I want to smoke even more.
I want to smoke even more.
Okay. You notice the difference? Where were you stronger?
The second time.
Yeah, I want to smoke even more. Psychologically reversed. When she thinks about smoking, and it's not a character defect, by the way, it's pointing something out to you. When she thinks about getting over smoking, she becomes psychologically reversed, and she will self-sabotage herself over and over and over again until that is corrected permanently. Because we can show you how to get over the craving, which I've already shown you even on film, and you know how to do that, but yet you still don't do it. Because you will sabotage yourself, and it's not a character flaw. It happens to everybody. Everybody gets psychologically reversed on some area in their life. Addictions happen to be just very, 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 very common. Okay, almost anybody who has addiction, which is most of us, to something or other, you'll find you are psychologically reversed against getting over that addiction. And until that psychological reversal shifts by whatever means, you're going to stay reversed. You'll continue with the addiction. Now I want you to do something for me. Okay, I want you to tap right there. Say, even though I have this cigarette addiction, I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though I have this cigarette addiction.
Even though I have this cigarette addiction.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
One more time.
Even though I have this cigarette addiction, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay, put your arm out. Remember, you're going to be strong every time, as hard as you can. Okay. Say, I want to get over this cigarette addiction.
I want to get over this cigarette addiction.
Be strong. Okay. I want to keep this cigarette addiction.
I want to keep this cigarette addiction.
Okay. Be strong. Notice the difference?
Yeah.
What was the difference?
Gary, shut the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The second time I went down quicker. I mean, I wasn't as strong.
You were stronger on You were stronger on I want to keep this addiction.
No.
You were stronger on the other one. Okay. You see what happened? We did the psychological reversal technique, the setup technique, and what that did was literally take her polarity in her body and realign it so it's running in the right direction. We don't know how long that lasts. It can last a minute, it can last 5 minutes, 5 days. We never know that. But see, that's why we do the setup, because if the psychological reversal is in place, I don't care what you do for healing. This is true for all of you who are chiropractors, acupuncturists, and whatever kind of healing you do. If somebody is reversed against getting over their healing, they just won't get over it. At least until that changes. How many of you acupuncturists and chiropractors and other healers in here have ever had the client that really should have gotten beyond their issue, and regardless of your best techniques, don't? Did that ever happen? Can I see hands? Yeah, that's just about all of you. Yeah. The chances are excellent they are psychologically reversed. Okay, have a seat for me, would you? Todd, would you want to come up a second? Please? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, could we have a microphone?
This is just a vocabulary question. Does energy polarity reversal, is that the same also as what is called being switched and biomagnetically reversed?
I don't know what those terms mean, so I don't know how to answer your question. I'm kind of a Johnny One Note here, and you know, I just go around, whatever. Come on up. I don't know the answer. I really don't. Chances are not, because almost any profession is not aware of this item. As far as I'm concerned, the healing profession should be a mainstay in the items, and it will be sooner or later, as soon as the obvious, comes to their attention. Okay, we'll give Todd a microphone. Thank you. Todd gets a microphone. How do you like that, Todd?
I have a build.
Yeah, and you even have a bell. My. Okay. All right. Let me see. Right out here, okay? Okay, be strong, okay? We did this already, right? Be strong. Okay, good. Okay, right here. Be strong. Okay, the other way. Be strong. Okay, you notice the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now you have bouts with depression, right?
Yes.
Okay, take medication for it and the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay. Say, I want to get over my depression.
I want to get over my depression.
Okay, be strong. Okay. Say, I want to keep my depression.
I want to keep my depression.
Be strong. Okay.
That's amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Psychologically reversed. Almost everybody, I did this on purpose, because I know people with addictions almost are always psychologically reversed. People with depression are almost always psychologically reversed, almost always. People with degenerative diseases are almost always psychologically reversed against getting over it. That includes arthritis, cancer, AIDS, multiple sclerosis. Any degenerative disease, we find that with great regularity, something like 95% of the people are psychologically reversed against getting over. That may be, and this is the non-Dr. Gary speaking with a total speculation, if you will, that may be the reason they are degenerative diseases and tend never to heal and only get worse, is because of the psychological reversal. That's a guess on my part. Don't take it home and write books about it, please. Okay? All right. Tap here. Even though I have this depression, I deeply and completely accept myself.
I have this depression, I deeply and completely
accept myself.
Accept myself.
Again.
Even though I have this depression, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Again.
Even though I have this depression, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Put your arm out here. Okay. Okay. I want to get over this depression.
I want to get over this depression.
Be strong. Okay. I want to keep this depression.
I want to keep this depression.
Be strong. Well, did you change?
Did a little bit. It was a little bit weaker the second.
Yeah, it was weaker. Yeah. Okay. What I mean was this right here got you to the point where you want to get over your depression. Okay. Yes. You'd like to lose weight?
Yes.
Okay. Be strong for me. Okay. Do it again. Be strong. One more time. I just want to feel your strength. Okay. Be strong. Say, I want to lose weight.
I want to lose weight.
Be strong. Okay. You feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Say, I want to gain weight.
I want to gain
weight. Okay. Be strong.
I want to gain weight.
Okay. Where were you stronger?
I want to gain weight.
Okay. You see what happened there? By the way, I could make this very graphic for you by pushing her arm down more, and you'll see it more easily. But I'm not going to stress her arm. She knows that. You know the difference, do you not? Okay, now isn't that strange? She would like to lose weight. Many people would like to lose weight. Yet when they say they want to lose weight, they go weak, right? The polarity within the body literally shifts. The batteries are in backwards on that subject. Mm-hmm. As a result, you will self-sabotage yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, you will do all the willpower in the world to not eat the cheesecake or whatever it is, but you will find yourself eventually raiding the refrigerator when you're not even hungry, and so on and so forth. Now I want you to do something for me. Okay, tap here, and say, even though I don't want to lose weight, I deeply and completely accept myself. See, I'm correcting the setup. I'm correcting psychological reversal. Even though I don't want to lose weight, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I don't want to lose weight, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, now put your arm out for me, okay? I just want to feel your strength, okay? Just let me feel it again so we can calibrate here again. Do it again, as strong as you can. One more time, hard as you can. Okay. See, I want to lose weight. Okay, be strong. Okay, I want to gain weight. Okay, be strong. Okay. Where were you stronger?
I want to lose weight.
I want to lose weight. That I hope you see graphically, because all we had her do was the setup, if you will, the psychological reversal thing, okay? And that corrected it, at least for now, okay? That is, if you are psychologically reversed on anything, on getting over your phobia, your traumatic memory, your headache, or whatever it is, if psychological reversal is in place, EFT will not work. It will literally stop not only EFT, but healing of all kinds. The person who has the broken bone that will not heal, I guarantee you, they are psychologically reversed against getting over it.